The massive crystal chamber buzzed with nervous energy as hundreds of alien beings filled the seats. The Galactic Council met only when something important happened. Today felt different. Commander Zethkar of the Valdris Empire walked to the center of the room. His forearms shook slightly as he looked up at the towering representatives from across the galaxy. "Friends and allies," Zethkar began, his voice carrying through the translation devices that let every species understand each other. "I come before you today with an urgent warning. There is a new species in our galaxy. They call themselves humans. They live in a small system called Sol, on the third planet from their star." General Vexholm from the Korthak Empire leaned forward in his seat. His massive frame and scarred face showed years of battle experience. "Commander, why should we care about another primitive species? Our scouts report they have no faster-than-light ships. They cannot even leave their own star system properly." Zethkar's four eyes focused on the Korthak general. "That is exactly why I'm here, General. Many of you see weakness where I see the greatest danger our galaxy has ever known." Murmurs filled the chamber. The Korthak were known for their aggressive expansion across space. They had conquered dozens of worlds and enslaved entire species. If Zethkar feared something more than them, it had to be serious. "I have studied these humans for many cycles," Zethkar continued. "My science teams have watched their planet and learned their languages. What we found terrifies me more than any weapon or army. The ancient chronicler, a being of pure energy that had existed for thousands of years, pulsed with dim light. It rarely spoke during council meetings, but its presence meant this matter was being recorded for all future generations. Tell us what makes these humans so dangerous," demanded Chancellor Rixtal from the Hegemony Worlds. "What weapons do they possess that we should fear?" Zethkar took a deep breath. "They have no energy shields. Their fastest ships move slower than our cargo vessels. Their weapons are primitive metal projectiles and simple explosives. In terms of technology, they are centuries behind us. Then why waste our time?" General Vexholm stood up, his voice booming across the chamber. "If they are so weak, they pose no threat to anyone here." "Because," Zethkar said quietly, "they have something far more dangerous than any technology. They have memory, perfect unforgiving memory coupled with unlimited determination." The chamber fell silent. Even the usual background hum of the translation system seemed quieter. Zethkar activated a holographic display showing images from Earth. Cities full of humans going about their daily lives. "Look at their history. These beings have fought wars that lasted hundreds of years. They have pursued justice across entire continents and through multiple generations. When a human is wronged, they do not simply seek victory. They seek complete satisfaction." Images flashed across the display. Ancient human armies crossing vast distances to settle old debts. Explorers spending decades searching for new lands. Scientists working their entire lives to solve single problems. I have found records of human conflicts where the original cause was forgotten, but the fighting continued because honor demanded it. They have a saying on their world: "We will never forget, and we will never forgive." When humans commit to something, they see it through to the absolute end, no matter how long it takes or what it costs them. General Vexholm laughed, a harsh sound that echoed through the chamber. "You expect us to fear a species because they hold grudges? The Korthak have destroyed civilizations that held grudges. Memory means nothing against superior firepower." Zethkar's mandibles clicked together nervously. "General, you misunderstand. This is not about holding grudges. This is about something deeper. Humans do not fight for territory or resources like most species. They fight for ideas, for principles, for what they believe is right." The holographic display changed to show more recent human history. Wars fought to end slavery. Battles fought to protect the weak. Conflicts that continued even when victory seemed impossible. "Watch this," Zethkar said as the display showed human soldiers in an ancient war. "These humans are outnumbered 10-1. Their supplies are cut off. Retreat would be the logical choice. But they continue fighting because they believe their cause is just. They would rather die than abandon what they think is right." Ambassador Keltar from the Peaceful Vegan Collective spoke up. "Surely you exaggerate, Commander. No species can be that inflexible." "I wish I was exaggerating," Zethkar replied. "But my research teams have found hundreds of examples. Humans who spent their entire lives hunting down criminals. Families who pursued justice for their relatives across multiple generations. They have built entire organizations dedicated to finding people who committed crimes decades ago." The display showed more images, human investigators working on cases that had been open for years, families holding memorial services for relatives killed in ancient conflicts, promising never to forget. The most terrifying part, Zethkar continued, is that they teach this to their children. Each generation learns about the wrongs done to previous generations. They pass down both the memory and the obligation to seek justice. A crime against one human becomes a debt that their entire species will eventually collect. General Vexholm's expression had changed from amusement to concern. Even if what you say is true, they are still primitives. What could they possibly do to us? Zethkar's forearms spread wide. General, imagine for a moment that someone attacks these humans. Imagine that someone destroys one of their ships and kills their people. What do you think would happen? They would surrender or die fighting uselessly, the general replied, but his voice lacked conviction. No, Zethkar said firmly. They would remember every detail. They would study their attackers. They would learn everything about their enemy's technology, their culture, their weaknesses. Then they would build better ships, better weapons, better strategies, and they would hunt down everyone responsible, no matter how long it took or how far they had to travel. The chamber was completely silent now. Even the background system seemed to have stopped humming. They would not stop until justice was served, Zethkar continued. Not until every person involved in the attack was found and punished. They would cross the galaxy if necessary. They would wait decades if required. They would never, ever give up. The chronicler suddenly pulsed brighter, its energy form shifting as it prepared to speak for the first time in decades. The Valdris commander speaks truth. I have observed this species from afar. They possess something rare in the galaxy. Absolute moral certainty combined with unlimited patience. To wrong them is to mark oneself for inevitable retribution. General Vexholm sat down heavily. You are suggesting we should fear a species that has not even contacted us yet? I am suggesting, Zethkar said, that we should establish peaceful relations with them and ensure that no one in this galaxy ever gives them reason to demonstrate what I have described. Because once humans decide you are their enemy, they will never let you go. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Discovery, watching the stars through the main viewport. 3 months had passed since Earth's first contact with alien life, and today felt historic. His ship carried humanity's hopes for peaceful relations with the galaxy beyond their solar system. Captain, called out Lieutenant Ben Carter from the communication station. I'm picking up the Valdris signal. They're right where they said they would be. Jake nodded to his crew. Dr. Lisa Parker looked up from her science station, excitement clear in her eyes. She had been studying alien technology for weeks, preparing for this moment. Security Chief Major Alex Rivera stood ready at his post, though he hoped his services would not be needed. Open a channel, Jake ordered. The main screen flickered to life, showing the alien face of Sub-Commander Talvin. The Valdris looked like a cross between a human and an insect, with forearms and large compound eyes. Despite their strange appearance, the aliens had proven friendly during their previous communications. Greetings, Captain Morrison, Talvin said through the translation system. Welcome to the Kepler system. We are honored to meet representatives of humanity. The honor is ours, Sub-Commander, Jake replied. My crew is excited to learn about your people and share knowledge about ours. Dr. Parker leaned forward eagerly. Sub-Commander, our scans show your ship uses some kind of biological technology. We would love to understand how that works. Talvin's mandibles clicked in what humans had learned was the Valdris equivalent of a smile. Dr. Parker, we would be happy to share our knowledge. In return, we are curious about your species' rapid technological development. Our records show humans went from basic flight to space travel in less than a century. We tend to work fast when we're motivated, Jake said with a grin. The peaceful exchange continued for several hours. Both crews shared information about their cultures, their technologies, and their goals for the future. Lieutenant Carter worked on improving the translation programs while Dr. Parker recorded everything about Valdris biotechnology. Young Ensign Tyler Brooks, barely 22 years old, monitored the ship's sensors with excitement. This was his first deep space mission, and he kept a personal log of everything he saw. He had joined the space service to see the wonders of the universe, and today his dreams were coming true. Captain, Tyler called out suddenly, his voice tight with concern. I'm detecting multiple ships approaching fast. Really fast. Jake moved to Tyler's station and looked at the sensor readings. Valdris? No, sir, Tyler replied. The energy signatures are completely different. These are much larger ships and they're heavily armed. On the main screen, Talvin's expression changed to one of alarm. Captain Morrison, you must leave immediately. Those are Korthak battleships. They are extremely aggressive and do not listen to reason. We came here in peace, Jake said firmly. Surely we can explain the situation to them. Captain, Talvin said urgently, the Korthak do not care about explanations. They attack first and ask questions later. Please, you must run while you still can. But it was too late. 5 massive Korthak ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel around the human and Valdris vessels. Each ship was 10 times larger than the Discovery, and bristled with weapons that Earth scientists had only dreamed of. Alien vessels, came a harsh voice over the communication system. You are trespassing in space claimed by the Korthak Empire. Surrender immediately or be destroyed, Jake stepped forward. This is Captain Jake Morrison of the United Earthship Discovery. We are here on a peaceful mission to establish friendly relations with alien species. We mean no harm to anyone. Captain, Major Rivera said quietly, our weapons are no match for those ships. We should consider retreating. The Korthak commander, Admiral Grixtar, appeared on the screen. He was a massive creature with thick armor plating and scars covering his face. His small eyes showed nothing but contempt as he looked at the humans. Humans, Grixtar said, his voice filled with disgust. We have heard of your pathetic species. You have no real weapons, no shields, no faster-than-light travel. You are insects pretending to be spacefaring people. Admiral Grixtar, Talvin interrupted. These humans are under Valdris protection. They came here at our invitation for peaceful contact. Grixtar laughed, a sound like grinding metal. The Valdris protect weaklings and call it diplomacy. Today you will learn what real power looks like. Jake tried one more time. Admiral, we have no quarrel with your people. We only want to learn and make friends with other species in the galaxy. Friends? Grixtar's expression became even more hostile. Primitives like you exist to serve superior races like the Korthak. You will learn your place, starting now. The Korthak ships opened fire without further warning. Brilliant energy beams lanced through space, striking the Discovery's hull. The ship shook violently as explosions ripped through multiple decks. Shields are down, Tyler shouted over the noise of alarms and emergency systems. Hull breach on decks 4 and 7, Dr. Parker called out, her voice strained as she worked frantically at her station. Jake grabbed his communication device. All hands, this is the captain. Prepare for another massive blast hit the Discovery directly. The bridge filled with smoke and sparks as systems overloaded. Jake was thrown against his command chair, while his crew struggled to maintain control of their dying ship. Major Rivera tried to return fire with the Discovery's limited weapons, but the human projectile guns had no effect on the Korthak shields. Sir, our weapons can't penetrate their defenses. Through the chaos, Jake could see that the Valdris ship was also under attack. Talvin's vessel, though more advanced than the Discovery, was heavily outnumbered and taking serious damage while trying to protect the humans. Tyler, Jake called out to the young ensign, but there was no response. The sensor station had taken a direct hit, and Tyler Brooks lay motionless among the wreckage. Dr. Parker crawled toward her captain, blood streaming from a cut on her forehead. Jake, the ship is breaking apart. We have maybe 2 minutes before total hull failure. Another explosion rocked the Discovery. This time the lights went out completely, leaving only the red glow of emergency systems. Jake could feel the ship dying around him. With shaking hands, he activated the emergency communication system. His voice was calm despite the disaster surrounding him. This is Captain Jake Morrison of the UES Discovery. We came in peace to make contact with alien life. We offered friendship and cooperation. Instead, we were attacked without provocation and without mercy. The ship shuddered again, and Jake could hear the sound of atmosphere escaping through hull breaches. To anyone receiving this message, remember what happened here today. Remember that humanity tried to join the galactic community in peace. Remember that we were murdered for the crime of existing. Jake looked around at his dying crew. Dr. Parker had closed her eyes, her injuries too severe. Major Rivera was still trying to get the weapons working, refusing to give up even in their final moments. Tyler Brooks would never see another sunrise or write another log entry about the wonders of space. This is Captain Jake Morrison's final message, he said into the communicator. We came in peace. Remember us. The discovery exploded in a brilliant flash of light, taking all hands with it. The Valdris ship, severely damaged but still functional, managed to escape into faster-than-light travel with evidence of what had happened. Admiral Grixtar watched the wreckage of the human ship scatter into space. "Let this be a lesson to all primitive species," he announced to his fleet. "The Korthak Empire does not tolerate weakness." But Subcommander Talvin, safely away from the battle, was already transmitting a full report of the incident to his superiors. He remembered Commander Zethkar's warning about humans and their long memories. The Valdris had witnessed an unprovoked attack on peaceful humans, and Talvin knew this would not be the end of the story. The galaxy was about to learn what happened when you killed humans who came in peace. The news reached Earth on a Tuesday morning. Sub-Commander Talvin himself had traveled to the Sol system to deliver the terrible message in person. His Valdris ship appeared at the edge of human space, broadcasting peaceful intentions and requesting immediate contact with Earth's leadership. President Maria Santos stood in the Oval Office, watching the alien commander on the secure video link. The translation was perfect now, thanks to the data that Captain Morrison's crew had transmitted before their deaths. Every word Talvin spoke hit like a physical blow. "The humans came in peace," Talvin said, his four arms moving in gestures of grief that somehow transcended species barriers. Captain Morrison requested only friendship and knowledge. Admiral Grixtar attacked without warning, without provocation, without mercy. Maria's hands clenched into fists as she listened to the detailed account. 27 human beings had died in the attack. 27 people who had volunteered to represent the best of humanity to the stars. 27 souls who would never come home. "Subcommander," Maria said, her voice carefully controlled, "we thank you for bringing us this information. We also thank your people for trying to protect our ship." "It was our honor," Talvin replied. "But I must warn you, Madam President. The Korthak Empire is vast and powerful. They have conquered hundreds of worlds. Admiral Grixtar commands a fleet of over 200 ships." Maria's expression remained calm, but something cold had entered her eyes. "Thank you for the warning, Sub-Commander. Earth will remember the Valdris as friends and allies." After the transmission ended, Maria walked to the window overlooking the White House lawn. Her chief of staff approached cautiously. "Madam President, how do you want to handle the public announcement?" Maria turned around and her staff was surprised to see that she was smiling. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who had just accepted a terrible responsibility. Schedule an emergency session of the United Nations. Contact every world leader. Tell them we need to discuss humanity's response to our first contact with alien life. 6 hours later, Maria stood before the largest gathering of world leaders in human history. The General Assembly Hall was packed beyond capacity as she approached the podium. Television cameras from every nation broadcast her words to billions of people around the world. "My fellow humans," Maria began, "today we learned that we are not alone in the universe. We also learned that there are beings in space who believe humanity can be attacked without consequences. They are wrong." The hall erupted in applause, but Maria raised her hand for silence. The UES Discovery was sent into space carrying our hopes for peaceful contact with alien civilizations. The crew volunteered to represent the best of humanity to the stars. Instead of finding friends, they found enemies who killed them simply for existing. Maria paused, letting the weight of her words sink in. Captain Jake Morrison's final message was simple. "We came in peace. Remember us." Today I promise Captain Morrison and his crew that humanity will remember. We will remember every single name. We will remember exactly what happened. And we will make sure that those responsible answer for their crimes. The president of Russia stood up. "What are you proposing, President Santos?" Maria's expression became granite hard. "I am proposing that we show the galaxy what happens when you murder humans who come in peace. I am proposing that we build a fleet that can reach the Korthak Empire and demand justice for our dead." "But we don't have the technology," protested the Prime Minister of England. "These aliens are centuries ahead of us in space travel and weapons." "Then we will learn," Maria replied. "We will study. We will build. We will improve. And we will not stop until we have the means to reach those who wronged us." The Chinese premier leaned forward. "Such an undertaking would require the resources of the entire planet." "Yes," Maria said simply. "It would." What followed was unprecedented in human history. Every nation on Earth, regardless of political differences or past conflicts, agreed to pool their resources for a single goal: building the ships and weapons needed to pursue justice for the Discovery. In Detroit, factory worker Danny Williams reported to his job at the auto plant to find that the assembly line had been completely redesigned overnight. Instead of cars, they were now building components for spacecraft engines. Danny didn't complain. He had watched President Santos's speech, and he understood what needed to be done. In Silicon Valley, software engineer Katie Jones found herself reassigned to a new project. Her company was now developing targeting computers for weapons that didn't exist yet. Katie worked 18-hour days without complaint, driven by the images of the Discovery crew that had been released to the public. The response was not limited to the young. Retired Marine veteran Sam Foster, 73 years old and enjoying his retirement in Florida, showed up at the nearest recruitment center and volunteered to train the new generation of human warriors. When asked why, he simply said, "Nobody kills Americans without consequences." The World Defense Council was formed within a week, led by former Air Force General Linda Hayes and naval strategist Admiral Robert Kane. Their mandate was simple: coordinate the largest military buildup in human history and prepare for a war unlike anything humanity had ever fought. Dr. Amanda Cross, the world's leading expert in theoretical alien biology, found herself in charge of a new research division, using the data that Subcommander Talvin had provided about Korthak physiology and technology. Her team worked around the clock to develop countermeasures and weapons that could be effective against alien enemies. Intelligence analyst Chris Murphy was given access to resources that he had never dreamed of. His job was to coordinate with human assets throughout the solar system, gathering every scrap of information about the Korthak Empire, their military capabilities, and their locations. The transformation was remarkable to witness. Humanity had always been capable of great cooperation when faced with external threats, but this was different. This was not about survival or territory or resources. This was about justice. This was about making sure that the galaxy understood that humans kept their promises, especially promises made to their dead. Subcommander Talvin, who had remained on Earth to serve as a liaison and advisor, watched the human response with a mixture of admiration and fear. Commander Zethkar's warnings had been accurate, but even he had underestimated the scope of human determination. "You must understand," Talvin said to General Hayes during one of their planning sessions, "the Korthak Empire controls thousands of star systems. They have millions of soldiers and thousands of ships. Admiral Grixter is just one commander among many." General Hayes looked up from the tactical displays showing planned ship designs and weapons systems. "Subcommander, I want you to understand something about humans. We are not planning to conquer the Korthak Empire. We are not planning to destroy their worlds or enslave their people. We have a very specific goal, which is, we want Admiral Grixtar and every ship, every crew member, every officer who participated in the unprovoked attack on the Discovery. We want them to face justice for what they did, and we will pursue them across the galaxy and through multiple generations if necessary to make that happen." Talvin's compound eyes focused on the human general. "You speak of generations. Surely you do not mean literal generations?" "Subcommander," General Hayes said quietly, "my granddaughter is 5 years old. If we do not succeed in bringing Grixtar to justice in my lifetime, I will make sure she understands that the job is hers when she grows up. And if she fails, her children will take up the mission. Humans do not forget our debts, especially debts of honor." The Valdris commander felt a chill run through his exoskeleton. Commander Zethkar had been right about everything. The humans were not planning a war in the traditional sense. They were planning something far more frightening. A campaign of justice that would not end until every person responsible for the Discovery massacre had been found and punished. As reports came in from around Earth about the pace of military preparation, Talvin began to understand that the galaxy was about to witness something unprecedented. Humanity was transforming itself from a peaceful, curious species into something that their ancient legends described as the eternal hunters, beings who never stopped pursuing their prey. The Discovery had been destroyed, but its crew would be remembered. Their deaths would be avenged, and the galaxy would learn what it meant to kill humans who came in peace. 2 years had passed since the Discovery incident, and Earth's orbital shipyards buzzed with constant activity. The first human revenge fleet was finally ready to launch. Admiral Patricia Webb stood on the bridge of the flagship USS Vengeance, looking out at the 36 other ships that would accompany her into the unknown. Each ship represented the combined efforts of every nation on Earth. The Vengeance itself was built with American steel, Chinese electronics, German engineering, and Russian weapon systems. Every human culture had contributed something to this moment. "Admiral," called Commander Rick Taylor from the tactical station. The former Navy SEAL had lost his brother in a mining accident years ago and understood the need for justice. "All ships report ready for departure." Admiral Webb nodded to her crew. Lieutenant Commander Nancy Clark, the chief engineer, had designed new weapon systems specifically for fighting alien technology. Her modifications to human projectile weapons had made them capable of penetrating energy shields through sheer kinetic force. "Communications. Open a channel to all ships," Admiral Webb ordered. The faces of 36 human ship captains appeared on the main screen. Each one had volunteered for this mission, knowing they might never return home. They came from every branch of Earth's military services and every nation on the planet. "Captains," Admiral Webb began, "today we begin humanity's first journey beyond our solar system. We go not as conquerors or explorers, but as agents of justice. 27 of our people died because they offered friendship to the galaxy. Today we begin the process of making sure their deaths are answered." Captain Helen Rodriguez, commanding the destroyer USS Retribution, spoke up from her ship. "Admiral, our targeting computers have the complete list of Korthak ships that participated in the Discovery attack. We will find them all." "That's the plan, Captain," Admiral Webb replied. "Remember, we are not at war with the Korthak Empire as a whole. Our quarrel is specifically with Admiral Grixtar and the ships under his command that day. We will pursue them until justice is served." The fleet engaged their new faster-than-light drives, technology reverse-engineered from Valdris designs with human improvements. The journey to Korthak space would take 6 months, but humanity had learned patience during the long preparation period. During the voyage, the human crews trained constantly. Pilot Officer Tony Rodriguez, flying one of the new Wasp-class fighters, practiced attack patterns against holographic alien ships. In his personal log, he wrote, "We don't fight like other species. We don't mass our forces for one big battle. We hunt, we track, we follow. We never let our enemies rest." The human approach to warfare was indeed different from galactic norms. Other species fought for territory, resources, or dominance. Humans fought for principles. Their strategy was not to destroy the Korthak Empire, but to systematically locate and neutralize every individual who had participated in murdering peaceful humans. Commander Taylor spent hours studying the tactical data provided by Valdris intelligence. "Admiral," he reported during one planning session, "the Korthak typically mass their fleets for overwhelming assaults. They expect their enemies to either surrender quickly or die fighting in traditional battle formations. What do our analysts think about their weaknesses?" Admiral Webb asked. Lieutenant Commander Clark pulled up technical schematics on the main display. "Their ships are powerful but designed for straightforward combat. They have excellent shields and weapons, but their sensor systems are not optimized for tracking smaller, more maneuverable vessels. They also have a rigid command structure," added intelligence. Officer Captain Lisa Stone. "Korthak ships cannot operate effectively without constant communication with their command vessels. If we can disrupt their communications, individual ships become much less dangerous." The human fleet practiced these new tactics throughout their journey. Unlike the massive battle formations favored by most galactic powers, humans developed swarm tactics using their smaller, faster ships to overwhelm larger alien vessels through coordinated attacks. 6 months after leaving Earth, the human fleet arrived at the edge of Korthak space. Their first target was a patrol group that included 3 ships from Admiral Grixtar's original attack force. "All ships, this is Admiral Webb," she announced as they prepared for their first engagement. "Remember our mission. We are here for specific individuals who committed specific crimes. We will offer surrender to any Korthak ship not on our target list." The attack came without warning. Korthak Commander Veltar was conducting a routine patrol when his sensors detected the approaching human fleet. His first reaction was amusement. These primitive humans had finally developed space travel and were foolishly challenging the mighty Korthak Empire. "Human vessels," Veltar transmitted. You are trespassing in Korthak space. Surrender immediately or be destroyed like your pathetic discovery. Admiral Webb's response was cold and professional. Commander Veltar, you are commanding one of the ships that participated in the unprovoked attack on the UES Discovery. Surrender now and you will be given a fair trial. Refuse and we will take you by force. Veltar laughed. Primitives like you cannot threaten the Korthak Empire. We will destroy you just as easily as we destroyed your first ship. The Korthak commander's confidence lasted exactly 30 seconds. The human fleet did not engage in the massive ship-to-ship combat that Korthak tactics expected. Instead, swarms of Wasp fighters launched from the human ships, using their speed and maneuverability to avoid the alien weapons while targeting specific systems. Tony Rodriguez led his fighter squadron in a coordinated attack on Veltar's command ship. Instead of trying to destroy the vessel, the humans systematically disabled its engines, weapons, and communication systems. This is impossible, Veltar muttered as his ship was slowly stripped of its ability to fight or flee. Humans are supposed to be primitive. How do they know our weaknesses? Lieutenant Commander Clark's voice came over the communication system. Commander Veltar, we have been studying Korthak technology for 2 years. We know exactly how your ships work and exactly how to disable them without killing your crew. Within 2 hours, all 3 Korthak ships were dead in space, their crews alive but helpless. The human fleet had suffered no casualties and minimal damage. Admiral Webb opened a channel to the disabled alien ships. Korthak commanders, you have 2 choices. You can surrender and face trial for your crimes against humanity, or you can activate your self-destruct systems and die here. Choose now. Commander Veltar stared at his control panel in shock. His mighty warship had been reduced to a floating piece of metal by a species he had considered inferior. The humans had not killed his crew, but they had completely humiliated his forces. How is this possible? He asked. Your weapons are primitive. Your technology is centuries behind ours. Commander, Admiral Webb replied, you underestimated human determination. We had 2 years to study your technology and develop countermeasures. We had 2 years to prepare for this exact moment. Most importantly, we had 2 years to remember our dead and plan our justice. The Korthak commander realized that he was facing something unprecedented in galactic history. These humans had not come to conquer or expand their territory. They had come specifically for him and his crew because of their participation in a single battle 2 years ago. You have traveled across the galaxy for revenge? Veltar asked. Not revenge, Admiral Webb corrected. Justice. Captain Jake Morrison and his crew came in peace. You and your allies murdered them for the crime of existing. Today you answer for that crime. Commander Veltar and his officers surrendered. They were transported to human ships and held as prisoners pending trial. The remaining Korthak ships on Admiral Webb's target list had just learned that humanity was coming for them. News of the first human victory spread quickly through Korthak space. Admiral Grixtar, the primary target of human justice, received the reports with growing concern. These humans had somehow developed technology and tactics specifically designed to counter Korthak advantages. Sir, his aide reported, the humans disabled 3 of our ships without destroying them. They captured the crews alive and stated that they are only interested in ships that participated in the Discovery attack. Grixtar studied the tactical reports. The humans had demonstrated capabilities that their intelligence had said were impossible. More disturbing was their obvious focus on specific targets rather than general conquest. How many ships from my original attack force are still in active service? He asked. 17, sir, not counting your own command vessel. Admiral Grixtar felt something he had not experienced in decades. Fear. The humans were not launching a traditional war. They were conducting a hunt, and he was the primary prey. The galaxy was about to learn that when humans promised to remember their dead, they meant it literally. The hunt had begun, and it would not end until every person responsible for the Discovery massacre had been found and brought to justice. 5 years had passed since the Discovery incident, and the human hunt had become legendary throughout the galaxy. Captain Stuart Murphy commanded the pursuit vessel USS Relentless, one of dozens of human ships now dedicated exclusively to tracking down the remaining war criminals from Admiral Grixtar's original attack force. His crew was a mixture of veterans from the First Revenge Fleet and new volunteers who had joined the cause. Navigation Specialist Lieutenant Julie Chen had spent 3 years studying Korthak movement patterns and could predict where fleeing ships might hide. Weapons Officer Commander Paul Anderson had perfected human technology to be devastatingly effective against alien defenses. "Captain," Lieutenant Chen called from her station, "I have a confirmed sighting of Commander Tekvar's ship in the Outer Rim territories. He's hiding in the asteroid field around Korthtal Prime." Stewart nodded grimly. Tekvar was one of the last surviving officers from the Discovery attack. For 5 years, he had fled across the galaxy, trying to escape human justice. The psychological impact on him and other Korthak officers had been devastating. "Set course for Korthtal," Stewart ordered, "and send word to Earth. We're about to close another case." The hunt had changed both species in unexpected ways. The Korthak Empire, once confident in its military superiority, now lived in constant fear of human pursuit. Every Korthak officer knew that attacking humans meant marking themselves and their families for a lifetime of relentless hunting. Commander Tekvar sat in his damaged ship, hidden among the asteroids of his homeworld's outer system. His crew of 12 was all that remained of the original 70, who had served aboard his vessel during the Discovery attack. The others had either been captured by humans or had deserted rather than face the endless pursuit. "Sir," his communications officer said quietly, "long-range sensors are detecting human ships approaching the system. 3 vessels, including one of their pursuit-class ships." Tekvar closed his eyes. He had known this day would come. For 5 years he had run from system to system, planet to planet, hiding in the farthest corners of known space. But the humans never stopped looking. They never gave up. They never forgot. His ship's computer contained files on human pursuit tactics that had become legendary throughout the galaxy. Unlike other species who fought for territory or resources, humans fought for justice. They did not seek to conquer the Korthak Empire or destroy their worlds. They wanted only those who had participated in the unprovoked attack on peaceful humans. "Sir," his tactical officer reported, "the human ships are broadcasting on all frequencies. They're demanding our surrender." "Put it on the main screen," Tekvar ordered. Captain Stuart Murphy appeared on the display, his expression calm but determined. Behind him, the bridge of the USS Relentless showed the quiet efficiency that had made human ships so effective in their hunting missions. "Commander Tekvar," Stuart said, "you have been running from justice for 5 years. Your ship is damaged, your crew is exhausted, and you have nowhere left to hide. This ends today." Tekvar activated his own transmission. "Captain Murphy, I surrender. My ship is disabled, my weapons are offline, and my crew wants no more of this endless chase." Stuart's expression did not change. "Commander, you participated in an unprovoked attack on the UES Discovery. 27 human beings died because of your actions, including a young ensign named Tyler Brooks who wanted nothing more than to see the stars and make friends with alien life." "I know," Tekvar said quietly. "I have known for 5 years. The guilt has haunted me every day since." "Then you understand why we are here," Stuart replied. "We are not here for your surrender, Commander. We are here for justice." The conversation was being monitored throughout the Korthak Empire and by intelligence services across the galaxy. What followed had become typical of human pursuit operations: methodical, precise, and absolutely uncompromising. "Commander Tekvar," Stuart continued, "you will be transported to a human vessel and taken to Earth for trial. You will face the families of the people you helped murder. You will answer for your crimes in a court of law. This is not negotiable." Tekvar nodded slowly. "I understand, Captain. But I must ask, what happens to my crew? They were following my orders." "Your crew will be interviewed and their level of responsibility determined individually," Stuart answered. "Those who participated willingly in the attack will face trial. Those who were simply following orders will be released after questioning." The capture of Commander Tekvar proceeded without violence. Human boarding parties secured his ship and took the alien commander into custody with professional efficiency. His crew was processed according to human military justice protocols that had been developed specifically for handling alien war criminals. As Tekvar was transported to the USS Relentless, he looked back at his homeworld through the viewport. "Captain Murphy," he said, "may I ask you something?" "Go ahead," Stuart replied. "How many of us are left? How many officers from the original attack are still being hunted?" Stuart consulted his tactical computer. "You were the last one, Commander. Admiral Grixter was captured 3 months ago. Sub-Commander Raltok was taken 2 months before that. Every officer and crew member who participated in the Discovery attack has now been found and brought to justice." Tekvar felt a strange mixture of relief and despair. 5 years. You people pursued us across the entire galaxy for 5 years. We warned you, Stewart said simply. Commander Zethkar of the Valdris tried to tell the Galactic Council what would happen if anyone attacked peaceful humans. Admiral Grixtar chose not to listen. News of Tekvar's capture spread quickly throughout the galaxy. At the Galactic Council, Commander Zethkar addressed the assembly once again. This time, the chamber was completely silent as he spoke. Honored delegates, Zethkar said, today marks the end of humanity's 5-year pursuit of justice for the Discovery Massacre. Every individual responsible for that unprovoked attack has been found, captured, and brought to trial. The ancient chronicler pulsed with bright energy as it spoke for the second time in recent memory. Let it be recorded that humanity has demonstrated a truth that will reshape galactic politics. They do not forget, and they do not forgive crimes against their people. But they also do not seek unnecessary conquest or revenge against innocents. General Vex Holm, the Korthak representative who had dismissed human capabilities 5 years earlier, stood to address the council. His empire had been humbled by the relentless human pursuit, but not destroyed. The humans could have used their demonstrated military capabilities to conquer Korthak worlds, he admitted. They could have enslaved our populations or demanded tribute. Instead, they pursued only those directly responsible for their losses. This shows a restraint and sense of justice that is admirable. The delegate from the hegemony worlds asked the question that everyone was thinking. What does this mean for future relations with humanity? Commander Zethkar's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. It means that humanity has earned its place in the galactic community, not through conquest or submission, but through the demonstration of unwavering principles. They have shown that they will cross the galaxy and wait decades if necessary to ensure that justice is served. The phrase, "they will never let you go," had become synonymous with humanity throughout known space. It was whispered in military academies as a warning about the consequences of unprovoked aggression. It was studied by political scientists as an example of how a technologically inferior species could gain respect through moral superiority and absolute determination. On Earth, memorials to the Discovery crew had been built in every major city. Captain Jake Morrison's final words, "We came in peace. Remember us," were inscribed on monuments throughout human space. Every new ship launched carried a small plaque with the names of the Discovery crew, ensuring that their sacrifice would never be forgotten. The human pursuit fleets began returning to Earth, their mission complete. Admiral Patricia Webb, now a hero to her species, stood once again on the bridge of the USS Vengeance as it approached home. "Admiral," Commander Taylor reported, "Earth Control is requesting permission to organize a parade in honor of the fleet's return." Admiral Webb shook her head. "Tell them we appreciate the gesture, but this was not a victory to be celebrated. This was a debt that needed to be paid. The only celebration we need is the knowledge that Captain Morrison and his crew can finally rest in peace." The galaxy had learned its lesson. Humanity had announced its presence among the stars not with conquest or dominion, but with an unshakable commitment to justice that would define their relationships with alien species for generations to come. And in the deepest archives of galactic history, the chronicler made a final entry about the Discovery incident. On this day, it was confirmed that when humans make a promise to their dead, they keep it. Those who would harm them must be prepared for consequences that will last longer than their own lifetimes. The humans came in peace, but they will never let you go if you choose war.